And good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for our knockout qualifying for race number 7 of the season. We are here under the lights at the Texas Motor Speedway, and I know that these races, they come out in succession to each other just about every day, one after the other. But believe it or not, it's actually been about a week since I've recorded any kind of NR 2003 races. Between this race and the past Hersheys Cup Series Infineon race. Not because I was getting bored of doing it or anything, but because I had done so many races so many days in a row, I was actually losing my voice, so I decided to actually give my voice a rest. And, so yeah. Anyway, we're getting ready here for knockout qualifying, so it's time to flip that little lucky penny and find out who's transferring from which heat, and the penny falls on a heads. Wow, I think that's only the second time this season it's fallen on heads, which means that the drivers here in Heat 1 would be very happy to know that, as Chris Dollerton out here on track. 4 drivers will transfer from Heat 1, 3 drivers will transfer from Heat number 2. Chris Dollerton has made, I believe, 3 starts so far this season in the 6 total races that have been run, and now trying to make his 4th start of the season, as he's got quite a task on his hands. I mean, he was the one guy that seemed to be in contention for Rookie of the Year honors against Matt Haas, who's the only chartered rookie this season, but Matt Haas has found victory lane twice this season already, at Las Vegas and Atlanta, so he has definitely jumped up to a huge lead in the rookie point standings, and I don't really think anybody's going to be able to reel him in. I think Matt Haas has already established himself this early as the Season 3 Hersheys Cup Series Rookie of the Year. Just noticed one driver jump to the top of the leaderboard there, and that's the 32 of Kermika Jazin. That's a teammate to Stephen Pollard III, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Texas Motor Speedway was where Stephen Pollard III in the 32 car went to victory lane for the first time in his Hersheys Cup Series career back in Season 1. It's pretty interesting to see the 32 running well here, as Garrett Sidner, who qualified into last week's race at Infineon, didn't exactly have the best of runs, but right now he is top of the leaderboard. You see him running right now behind Elijah Gordon and Matthew Dallio. Now he goes to the inside of Elijah Gordon. Right now, as things stand, it would be Sidner, Jazin, Gordon, and Shearer who would transfer. And now Shearer knocked out of the top 4, dropped back into the 5th position. Matt Dallio jumps up into 4th. There's Stephen Pollard III. We were just talking about him. He's up to 8th fastest right now with a 31.466. I'm sure Steven would love to be able to make this race here at Texas, maybe pick up 2nd Texas win of his career, as right now the top 4 is caboosed by Dougie Shears now with a 31.355. That's only 1/1000th better than 5th place Matthew Dallio. Stephen Pollard III trying to catch up to this threesome here. That could help him get a draft lap, as right now the top 4 remain the same, but now someone just jumped up into 2nd. That eliminates out Dougie Shears, and that is John Andrews in the 17. Now up into the 2nd position. Joshua Osborne right behind him, so John Andrews in a good spot, and Herjo Alonso just jumped up into the top 2, up into the 2nd position. Where's he at? There he is, trying to make his first start of the season, the Sam's Club Chevrolet. With 45 seconds remaining, right now it would be Sidner, who I think is going to make the race. He's got a almost a 31 flat lap time. Then Herjo Alonso, John Andrews, and Kermika Jazin. For 2 of those drivers, Alonso and Jazin, they would be making their first starts of the season. But there's still 25 seconds. Anybody can still jump up into the top 4. There's Kermika Jazin right now in the bubble spot, the final transfer spot of 4th place, 323, I should say. About 0.2 faster than 5th place fastest Elijah Gordon. Hoping that's going to be enough to be able to make the race. 32 out of Stephen Pollard Racing, so Stephen Pollard would definitely know how to give advice to Kermika Jazin on how to get around this racetrack, maybe pick up a victory. Oh, we got trouble up ahead. Someone just spun. That's Italia Salinas. Saves it, though, continues on, but almost had a wreck. Well, I guess we had a wreck on the back straightaway there, but didn't cause any issues. And Salinas was not a driver who was in position to actually make the race anyway right now. As there's the driver that'll be fastest here in this session and will transfer into the main event. At top of the leaderboard here in Heat 1, Garrett Sidner will make his second straight Hersheys Cup Series start for Season 3. He'll be joined by Sergio Alonso, John Andrews, and Kermika Jazin. Those are the four that look like they will be transferring, as we'll have zeros on the clock, and the session is complete, and that will indeed do it. So 2 Chevrolets and 2 Fords will transfer into the main event here from the first heat. Sidner, Alonso, Andrews, and Jazin. For Alonso and Jazin, they'll be making their Hersheys Cup Series debuts in a points-paying race. Just missing out, teammates Elijah Gordon and Mitchell Carter. Also Dougie Shears, Matthew Dalio, Kev Shearer, Morris Studemeyer, as well as all the way down to Andrew Davis, Daniel Gilbert, and Colin Denton. So that's going to do it here for the first heat. Let's now find out what 3 drivers from heat number 2 are going to join these 4 in the main event here this week at Texas Motor Speedway. So as we get set for heat number 2, only 3 drivers will be transferring into the main event in this one. It's only the second time this season that only 3 drivers will be transferring from heat 2, as the penny seems to want to always land on tails, and 4 drivers usually transfer into the main event from this second heat. But this week decided to be heads. A lot of cars pulling out into their pit stalls on pit road here. Nobody yet peeling off pit road, though, to head on to the racetrack. And one thing I've noticed in these sessions is the drivers in Heat 2 lay down faster lap times than the drivers in Heat 1. I can only assume that's because of the rubber that gets laid down from Heat 1. And looks like we've got one car coming up pit road. That looks like Daniel Olson in the 47. Indeed it is. Driver out of Anime Racing Team. And here comes the 70 of James Qualls, as well as the 46 of Cody Hagan. Hagan was in last week's race at Infineon. He's made 2 starts this season. James Qualls still looking to make his first start of the season. And Daniel Olson, I believe, has made 1 start this season so far in Hersheys Cup Series competition. And as he gets that Kingsford Chevrolet up to speed, he is now on the clock for his first timed lap. And we saw back in the first heat, Garrett Sidner laid down his lap time, the fastest lap time of the session, fairly early in the session. So we'll have to see if somebody's going to be able to do the same thing here. He ran, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was a 31.027. We'll see if anybody's able to beat that lap time in this session. Keep in mind, based on what the speed is, depends on where they will start the race. So let's say, for instance, the 3 drivers in this heat run faster than a 31.027, they would start 36th, 37th, and 38th. Garrett Sidner, despite running the fastest lap time in Heat 1, would start in the 39th position for the starting grid this week at Texas. That's how the 36th through 42nd is basically determined, based on the lap time that was turned in their respective heats. Well, Daniel Olson ran a 32.136, and that was a lot slower than other drivers. I can only assume because his pit stall was a little bit closer to the exit of pit road. Let's see what he lays down this time. And this time, not much better, 31.960. A lot of drivers have already beaten his lap time. Got a nice little group right here. William Duncan, Pichu London, and Cody Hagan. A Toyota, a Ford, and a Chevrolet. And I think William Duncan may have actually just gotten the wall off of 2 there. Hagan right now is second fastest. James Qualls, that we saw just up ahead, he is right now 4th fastest. See if his lap time improves at all from a 31.439, and it does not. But James McLeod's lap time improved, and he's jumped up to second place. 31.199 is right now the only car to hit the 30s is Cole Deaver in the 66, that car out of the Satellite Gardner Motorsports team. As McLeod moves by Olsen, let's see if that slows up his lap time at all, or will he improve over 31.199? And no, he will not. Let's find Cole Deaver, see where he's at, what's allowed him to lay down this really good lap time of a 30.9, and he's actually all by his lonesome right now. Must have gotten the draft off of somebody, but right now he is over 2/10, almost 3/10 faster for that lap time than James McLeod's fastest lap time. You can technically say that Cole Deaver's run a 30.9 to McLeod's 31.2. And right now, the third position hotly under contest, and at the moment it's being held by KAB Racing Enterprises' Jason Haywood. There he is, getting a nice draft onto the back of John Cittadino. He may jump up to second place with that lap time. No, he does not. Actually, his lap time did not improve, surprisingly enough. I thought that the big run he got on the 83 of Cittadino would actually propel him to a faster lap time than a 31.3, but apparently that is not the case. Just outside of the top three looking in, Johnny Gardner, his teammate Chelsea Bowles, as well as the rookie DJ Curtis out of Joe Gibbs Racing in the 77. He's not too far ahead. There he is. 5-Hour Energy Toyota. Almost made the race last week at Infineon, but came up just short, and right now finds himself about a nickel short in this one. Actually, less than a nickel. It's only 2/10. We'll call it two pennies. Actually, it'd be about 25 cents, actually, but regardless. Getting a nice run onto the back of Jonathan Zorlin right now. Let's see if DJ's got anything here as far as the speedy lap time to jump him up into the top three. And no, it does not improve his 31.335. So right now it is Cole Deaver, James McLeod, Jason Haywood. They would be the three to transfer. There's Elijah Gilbert battling with Sean Henley, who made his first start last week at Infineon. And the session's complete. Wow, that was a quick session. I completely lost track of the time as well. And so officially, the three drivers that transfer from this one will be Cole Deaver. He'll be making his first start in the Hersheys Cup Series. So we'll have three drivers making their debuts. Sergio Alonso, Cole Deaver, and if I could remember who the other person is, I can't off the top of my head right now. I get names confused. Anyway, we'll have three drivers anyway, regardless, making their Hersheys Cup Series debuts. James McLeod will be making his first start of the season, and Jason Haywood makes, I believe, it'll be his second start of the season in the Hersheys Cup Series in Season 3. Just missing Johnny Gardner, DJ Curtis, Chelsea Bowles, Cody Hagan, Jay Jefferson, Elijah Gilbert, and James Qualls on down. Look at Daniel Olson, first car onto the racetrack and last on the speed charts with a 31.9. He ran that 31.9, I believe, as his second timed lap. Never improved during the course of this session. Boy, so I guess you had to turn your fast lap time within like the first 2 or 3 laps, and then everything after that, I guess with the tire fall off or something, you just could not get any better speed. And that explains why Cole Deaver, James McLeod were able to stay at the top of the leaderboard for most of this session. So anyway, that's going to do it here for this knockout qualifying session. We have our 7 drivers who will transfer into the main event here for this week at Texas Motor Speedway. Next up on tap, Almond Joy Series will come here for their 7th race of the season. And then we cap it off with the Hersheys Cup Series race under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.